morning and welcome to The Point. It is Tuesday, April 20th, 2021. Thank you to those of you joining us on the GBN, Grenada Broadcasting Network's Facebook page, the website www.gbn.gd, GBN TV channel 7, 11 and 20. Good morning to the listeners of Classic 105.5, 105.9 and the folks joining us on Party Grenada and Go to Facebook pages. To the folks who usually join us on the YouTube platform, you may not find us on the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's channel, but you can look for us on GBN Production. GBN Production, that's the next YouTube channel, and you can find us there if you want to head on over to the YouTube platform, GBN Production. All right, let's get into this morning's program. Joining us virtually is a gentleman that recently announced that he is throwing his hat into the political ring. Mr. Bassanio Nicholas, he has signaled his intention to contest the next general election in the constituency of St. George South East. Good morning, Mr. Nicholas. How are you, sir?
Good morning. Thanks for having me. I'm fair to find. The weather is looking really great today. Nice and sunny outside.
Amen.
Pleasure being with you.
Happy to have you, sir. So it was last week that most of us, or some of us, saw the video that you sent out signaling your intention to contest the next general election as an independent candidate in St. George Southeast. So my first question this morning is, why now? Why have you decided that it is time for you to take on a new hat? Because most of us know you as a comedian, as an actor, but now you're getting into politics. Why now? Why 2021?
2021, well, the thing is there are, different opinions out there. There are different political organizations. And mainly the main political organizations we have in this country right now is the NNP and the NDC. And there are persons out there who decided, hey, I am not interested in NNP anymore, or I'm not interested in NDC anymore. So they're looking for an alternative to lend their support. And here I come, because from talking to persons in the constitution, in this constituency, Central Southeast, they're almost 1/3 of the voting population who decided they wasn't going to vote from the last election. And I think it could get worse. And with an alternative, persons would get the opportunity to exercise their democratic rights. So hence the reason Bassanio Nicholas is in the ring right now and doing all he got to do to make sure that these persons are properly represented in the Parliament of Grenada.
You mentioned the two main political parties, NDC and NNP. Some people may know you to be a strong advocate, or maybe a former strong advocate for the ruling New National Party. So what is it about, or what has or hasn't happened that you've decided that the best way forward is to go independently and not continue being a champion for the NNP, or a voice for the NNP, if I can put it that way?
Well, let me tell you, if you have the aspiration for higher office, especially in the political arena in Grenada, it is very difficult to do so, because the persons who are involved in the system right now, in the process, it don't seem like they're ready to leave. I don't think that's part of the interest right now. They've been there for a number of years. I've been supporting the New National Party. And I think the time has come when, I threw my heart inside and I decided to go independent. So I could give persons the opportunity, I could get the opportunity myself to, advance to the next level, in terms of letting persons hear exactly what Bassanio has to offer. Because despite you may support a political organization or any entity, everybody has their own opinion. And we differ sometimes in terms of ideology, and that is sometimes a battle. There are times when they say, people Everybody put the cards on the table, and then you come up, everybody come to a common understanding, hey, this is what we're going to work with. But a lot of times, your views get swept under the table without any recognition at all. So I think this is the opportune time for me to make that movement, and hence the reason I'm taking it in 2021.
St. George Southeast, that constituency is currently represented by Minister of Finance, the Honorable Gregory Bowen, of the New National Party.
Exactly.
What is it that, or what are some of the areas you think need assistance, need focus, need priority in that constituency that has not been handled by the current representative, and some of your plans for the constituency if you are elected as the next parliamentary representative for St. George Southeast?
Well, yes, Honorable Boeing have been in the constituency for a number of years, and I must indeed say that, he did a pretty good job, of helping out the things that needed to be done within the constituency. But in recent times, persons started to get fed up with, the pace in which things are happening. People expected more from, 2018 election, the promises and so that was made. People expected more, to see more happening at this time. And another factor is persons who believe that it's time for the older folks to take a back seat and let the younger blood come forward with fresher ideas or, fast thinking minds come forward and continue the process. But that doesn't seem to happen and might not happen soon, especially within the organization. Some of the things, I made a list of a number of areas that I would like to see a lot of improvement on. I spoke clearly about the protection of our heritage, culture, and patrimony. That one I have, because I know the cry persons had, especially when it comes to public spaces and so, or beaches. Sometimes you go to some beaches and some people feel like they own the beaches. You cannot bathe on the beaches, or you cannot use the facilities as you wish as locals and visitors. They probably just there for one set of persons. I think this we need to address in a very serious way. But how we had issues with our national park, and I think most recently on the Grandlands Beach, that we need to correct and make sure that these things don't continue to happen. We have to put protective laws in place to make sure we protect the spaces that our people, especially the green spaces that our people are currently enjoying. I'm strong about skills training, giving the opportunity to not only young persons, but persons of all ages, because there are some persons middle-aged persons, who probably they're not skilled. And with a skill, persons can fend for themselves. They can go out there and put bread and butter on the tables, feed their families. So this is an area I'm very, very passionate about, getting persons skilled so that they can feed themselves. Land for the landless. I live in St. George Southeast, and I've been listening to the older folks, the folks who worked on the Hooville estate. They basically slaved on the Hooville estate, and that estate, they were moved from the estate without any proper compensation. And what they enjoy right now probably is $300 from government, which can't even take care of their basic needs. So, but I know for a fact that, what you drive through the area, you see the land is subdivided into plots for sale. I know somebody, I don't know exactly who, but somebody is subdividing those properties for sale. And I know lands are not cheap at this time. So somebody's making lots of money with those property, and the people who really slaved on this property have nothing to receive. These are some things we have to address. A better living condition for all. We drive through not only Southeast St. George, you say people come from outer parishes and say St. George's should be, what is really the capital, but when you drive through St. George Southeast and other constituencies in St. George's, the level of poverty you meet in certain pockets of the constituencies is alarming, especially when it comes to housing. We need to address that and address it, make a serious effort to address that kind of condition. We know that something is happening in terms of some persons getting a toilet and a bath, but we have to do more than that. We have to make sure that persons are, can live in dignity within the state of Grenada. We have the agricultural production. I believe agriculture is one of our, agriculture will keep us, keep us in it. Without agriculture, we cannot sustain ourselves, we cannot feed ourselves. If we notice what happened during the pandemic, despite how my views on the pandemic, you understand? It taught us that we need to focus on agriculture in a serious way. While tourism is very important, but agriculture, without agriculture, our people would not survive. We need to feed ourselves and feed ourselves properly. Although right now there are farmers who do a lot of production, but you're not seeing it get into the persons who need it. We're not seeing, people doesn't have the power to get those products, and it's the financial power. This we have to change, and change in a serious way. When you look at, because agriculture is an area, we know that sugarcane have been out for a while. We see that a company came in and they doing sugarcane for production of alcohol. But sugarcane, banana industry, we could, the cocoa, the nutmeg, we need to, address these things in a most serious way to make sure that we can sustain ourselves, especially with our export. And given, because the next area I look at is the agro-processing. And we need, the thing is, with agro-processing, we can give our small agro-processors the opportunity to produce for ourselves. Our imports are skyrocketing, and some of the things that we import and we consume, a lot of it, when you check the level of salt and sugar and so on, people, hence the reason we have so much, persons that, obese or high blood pressure, a lot of chronic illnesses, taking over our people, when we could use our local products and live a more healthy life. A more healthy life, yeah? The minimum wage regularization, we need, that is a critical area, minimum wage. I don't know the last time, I can't even remember the last time minimum wage. When the last time minimum wage was addressed, probably when Glenys Roberts was a member of parliament, when she addressed the minimum wage for security officers. But outside of that, minimum wage wasn't touched at all in a number of years. Persons today, there are persons who are working for $500 a month, $700 a month, and that's sometimes can't even take care of your your utilities. So I'm going to make a special, drive to make sure that persons, the minimum wage, get addressed in a very serious way. And I'm talking not only in the lower categories, in all areas. There are persons who work in certain areas that they work in for name. They give you a promotion and they promote you, the name of the department instead of financially. And we know what's happening. The cost of living is constantly on the increase. We look at what happened to the Debushers. The Debushers have been, since 1999, Debushers been working for the same mangy, some. And this category of workers is not a constant, they're seasonal. And it used to be like 3 times per year. Now it's like twice a year. Or if you look carefully, it might be once a year. So this group of persons, once a year you get something, and when you get it, you cannot even satisfy food for your house. This have to change. We need to change that. Pension reform and in the public sector, and I would say the private sector as well. We know that the pension reform issue has been a burning one in recent months. I do believe that, government have to be serious and do better for those persons. Persons are leaving after 30 and 40 years in the public and private sector. And when they reach retirement, they're worse off. They're going into poverty. Most persons, 90% of the persons leaving the public sector and the private sector are retiring into poverty. That is not fair. And we need to address that. And that's what I'll be advocating. These are some of the things I'll be advocating for. The promotion of, sports and culture. And you mentioned earlier, sports, when it comes to sports and culture, there are some things that are close to my heart. And I do believe that we need to do more for that industry. I know that the government have been doing a lot in terms of putting playing facilities, the playing fields and the stadiums and so in place. What I've noticed is sometimes they use, especially the national stadium, it's a challenge. It's a challenge to use these facilities because as locals, versus the different clubs and so in Grenada, they want to use it, but there is not, a serious cost. We know that everything costs something. If you use a facility, you have the cost, but we have to put some kind of mechanism in place to make sure that our youngsters can get the best training possible. Our cultural facilities. Up to now, we don't have a proper theater in Grenada, and we know what's happening. We have a lot of talented youth, a lot of talented young people, young persons. The Calypso art form. We have a lot of talent in our country. So we need to have proper facilities that these young persons and persons interested in the arts can vent them their interests. The promotion of healthy eating and lifestyle. That is an area where, we have to take a close look. And this one, it depends on each and every one of us. We have to control what we put in our system. Because for too long, we've seen our people, when they look at the pretty ads and so that they have a way to lure people into eating these junk foods, We're not seeing enough encouraging persons to eat healthy. I think our governments and even the private sector, we need to put money there to keep people to eat, encourage persons to eat healthy so that they can live healthy lives. I don't know, persons have been looking at me recently. I'm strictly vegan. I eat nothing that have eyes. And that is, I made a choice. And we need to, some persons, it's difficult for them to make a decision like me, but we need to put nice, pretty ads out there, use the talent that we have to put ads out there to encourage persons to eat healthy. Eat healthy, eating what you grow. And I'm clear about people eating local, buying local, and even selling local. By doing that, a lot of the dollars that we put in that leaves the country would remain and circulate in the economy. Because once the dollar circulates, we will be in a much better position than we're in today.
So, is your intention?
I was just before you.
No, go ahead.
Before you go, I have just two more points that I want to make. Before we go into the, you question me, yeah? The protection of employment through regularization and unionization. What we see happening is contract work have been taken over. Persons don't have that form of security. People can go to the bank with a contract and say, I have a 6 months contract, a year contract, to get a loan to better themselves or better their lives. So contract work is taking over. So I'm looking at, we need to regularize the sector, how we do business in Grenada, especially in terms of hiring and of persons. We need to regularize that. Give, persons working 10 years, 20 years on a contract. That doesn't make no sense. That doesn't make no sense at all. And when it comes to unionization, I had an issue in terms of unionization. We have a number, we encourage, it's good, we encourage persons to come do business in Grenada. But what we see happening is those persons come in and they take advantage of the system. They take advantage of the people who they employ, and they cannot be unionized because I don't think our government encourages the unionization of persons in certain operations. I think this thing needs to stop, and it needs to stop now. Persons need protection, and so a lot of time persons are employed in certain, organizations, and they don't have a voice for themselves. They need somebody to speak for them. So that's an area that, we need to look at, and we need to look at it now. This is not tomorrow, but now. It's as urgent as looking at it yesterday. And finally, the advocating for more care for the elderly, financial support and care for the elderly. That is an area that, as I said earlier, the persons, the elderly, they work hard. A lot of them, especially in St. George Southeast, they work on the estates. And they're in retirement now. They're in the evening of their lives, and they're struggling to make it. I don't think $300 is cutting it for them. The state needs to do better, and do better now for those persons. So these are just some of the issues I would advocate for the people of St. George Southeast and Grenada CARICOM PT Martinique when elected parliamentary representative.
Is your plan to form a party, get more independent candidates that you can form a group or a caucus with to represent other constituencies, or would you be riding solo?
Well, for now, it's solo. But I would encourage other persons to at least make that leap. Make that leap. You have to be fearless. You have to be fearless. And, get involved in the process, because persons not only in St. George Southeast, throughout the island, persons are calling for representation, and they're looking for an alternative. Because you would hear persons saying, "Me, I'm voting for NNP, I'm voting for NDC." That means persons are looking for a serious alternative who would look at their interests as we go forward. So I'm going to encourage anyone to take up the mantle and, run with it. But I am clear that it is possible. Although I believe that it's important to start when you're building any structure, it's good to start from the bottom. As I did saying, I'm here as an independent candidate. In the future, you can, rise to a different level where you could have more persons involved in the process. It's easier right now for me to manage myself. Instead of having to manage a whole team. But I would work with anybody who desires my contribution.
Let's take a break, Mr. Nicholas, and then we're going to come back with some more discussions. We are speaking with independent candidate Bassanio Nicholas, representing St. George South East. This is To The Point. We'll be right back.
Do you hear what I hear? Listen to the ocean, and you will hear a cry for help. The ocean is hurting, and we are the source of the hurt. But we can stop and start to heal our ocean by preventing pollution from getting into our waterways. It can start with you. Join an active organization, or better yet, make a personal commitment. Commit not for just one day in the year, but for the rest of your life. Let's dispose of our plastic and other waste responsibly, and let's start building resilience. Let the healing begin.
This message is brought to you by the OECS Commission with funding from the Government of Norway. REMLIT, tackling ocean pollution from turf to surf.
There's no better way to start your day than with me on Good Morning Grenada. Covering everything you need to start your mornings off right. 6:35 a.m. on weekdays on all GBN platforms. Good Morning Grenada, adding a little blossom to your mornings.
Long ago, the strength of Grenadians was in their arms as they worked the lands to get food for the table. Nowadays, most Grenadians' plate is packed with lots of starch and meat, little or no vegetables, plenty fried foods, and they wash that down with something sweet while sitting in front of screen. Hard work and exercise seem to be out of style, and lifestyle diseases are becoming the fashion of the day and claiming many lives. Let's make a change to live longer. Let us grow and enjoy a variety of natural and safe, fresh vegetables and fruits every day. Use our local fresh seasoning and spices to make our traditional dishes healthier and avoid highly processed foods, snacks, and drinks. Drink more water every day to help your body function better. Get moving every day and trade some screen time to share and enjoy healthy family meals. Choose healthy foods and healthy lifestyle. Follow the healthy choices for healthy living guidelines for Grenadians.
Help prevent cold and flu by washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. That's the time it takes to remove most germs. No soap and water? No worries when you've got alcohol-based hand sanitizer. Prevent cold and flu by washing your hands with soap and water for at least 20 seconds. That's the time it takes to remove most germs. No soap and water? No worries when you've got alcohol-based hand sanitizer.
Welcome back to the Point. We're speaking with independent candidate Bassanio Nicholas as he throws his hat in the ring to represent St. George Southeast. It's at this point in the program we're going to invite our viewers and listeners who may have comments, questions, queries, concerns for Mr. Nicholas. Now is your opportunity to ask them or state them. The landline number 435-2041. That's also the WhatsApp number. Please only written messages on WhatsApp, and you can continue to post your comments on the Facebook page as well as the YouTube channel. Again, for those of you who usually join us on YouTube, the platform we're using today is GBN Production. Until we get back the GBN Grenada Broadcasting Network's YouTube channel, we're going to be using GBN Production for now. So let's go to our first caller. Good morning, caller.
Yes, good morning, Citizen Welsh. Greetings. How are you?
I'm great. How you doing, sir?
I'm quite all right, thank you. And you don't have to call me sir. That's why I don't like that either. Listen to Mr. Nicholas. Good morning. Listen, welcome to the
Good morning, sir.
Mr. Nicholas is a prospective candidate. He's not a candidate yet. And by the way, I hope to join him soon because I've proposed to myself that I should throw my cap in the ring to try to deflate the mafia that has been sequestered Liberia and St. Paul and surrounding areas, and even the state of Grenada. But let's go to the serious now, Mr. Nicholas. You have enunciated a range of things there, and I must indeed tell you, it's not the first time I'm hearing them. Those who are in quote-unquote, and they like to use that, power, had enunciated them. I note I didn't say would have enunciated. I said they had enunciated prior to them taking office. But these things persist up to today, meaning that something has not been taken effect. I am confident that it is because of the political architecture of this here country that nothing has been changing and will ever change in the future. Now I ask you this, sir. If you give me a correct answer or a prompt yes-no answer, I will, according to what I hear, I will stop immediately. Do you know, Mr. Nicholas, that the Constitution, the basic law, the supreme law, the framework law, the fundamental law, whatever you wish to call it, of this here country has never been made into a law in the parliament nor accepted by the people in popular referendum? Do you know that, sir?
Well, I've learned that. And it was put to us. It was brought on us, and we were made to just accept what was handed down to us.
Great. Are you prepared to accept that continuously in perpetuity?
Well, definitely.
Or are you prepared to do something about it if you were elected as a legislator? Remember, you're not being hired or you're not putting up yourself for office as a minister. You're doing so as a legislator. What do you intend to do on that matter? If you haven't considered, don't answer. Answer it later on. The other thing I want you to answer about, as I end here, the people with disabilities in this country suffer. And they suffer with scornful disdain from the authorities. And they abuse them and use them just for their own political expediency. Have you any ideas? Have you ever considered how people like this, of this nature, of this group, can get relief from the suffering in this and to live as equal citizens as anyone else in this here country? There are many other questions, but bit by bit, I won't torture you all for now. Kindly hint us a bit on that. Thank you, and have a nice day. Will you?
Yes.
Thank you very much, caller. Citizen
thanks,
Ronald,
caller.
go ahead.
It's a very important question. As I said in earlier on, when you're looking at the protection of the advocating for more care and financial support for the elderly and disadvantaged in our country, that group of persons on the top of the list, the disabled community, and what we're doing in terms to help them. We're building our roads and we're not taking them into consideration. We're putting on structures and we're not taking them into consideration. We're doing a lot of things in this country and we're not taking this group of persons into consideration. We're doing like if they're normal persons who has all the senses like some of us, and we need to address this in a very serious way, in a significant way, to make sure we have systems in place to protect those persons and protect them against all ills, because a lot of the times because persons are disadvantaged and they look different, we have this tendency to want to scorn those persons. We have no patience with those persons. We have to train persons who would take care and, take care of those persons and make sure that they have a decent life, decent living. A lot of times we look at these persons as basically they're no good in society. That's how we look at them, which is not good. Everybody has a right to the basic things: food, shelter, clothing, security, and safety. Everyone. And not some, but everyone. And I do believe, Mr. Caller, that is one of the areas that I'll be focusing on and advocating for that group of persons to make sure that they have a decent living. And as you said earlier on, a lot of things happen, a lot of lip service in terms of some of the things I've mentioned here. I think this is my duty now, to really speak on behalf of the people and to make sure I get things there on behalf of the people. My interest is not the top persons in this country. My interest is the persons at the bottom of the ladder, mainly to get benefits for those persons to make sure that they have a comfortable living, comfortable lifestyle. Thanks for your concerns and your comments, sir.
Somebody on Facebook is asking, is it the pandemic that opened your eyes now to see the poverty and degradation of our economy and the corruption that has been and is still taking place in this country, when you have sat by for years supporting this regime and enabling them to rape and pillage this nation and her people?
Well, Blossom, I would say this, since 2013, I've been looking seriously. Sometimes you work in organizations and you never pay serious attention. Despite you might have you lend your concern, but sometimes you just not as the person would have posted. You're not paying enough attention. The pandemic didn't create that kind of awareness in me. Since 2013, I've been looking on with that, by an eagle's eye. So some of the things that persons are, complaining about, and trying to use my voice to get some relief for those persons. But sometimes, as the first caller would have said, your big pride out there because you're not you're not a legislator. A lot of what you say just go to the wind.
All right, let me now go to a WhatsApp question. Somebody on WhatsApp says, the current representative did not do much for the constituency of St. George Southeast. He did a little for Hope, Valentine, and everything else for Laborie, and allowed or gave permission to some individuals to conduct some illegal vending at bus stops, etc. How would you respond to that statement?
Well, I would not say that the current representative did not do anything for St. George Southeast. I'd be a hypocrite if I say so. A lot have been done, as to allow persons to do illegal vending in certain areas. I don't have the evidence to prove that is the representative that gave authority to persons who vend close to bus stops or in bus stops or in areas where deemed illegal to vend. I don't have that kind of evidence, so I cannot talk to it. But I cannot sit here and say that nothing has been done within the constituency, by the current representative.
All right, back to the phone lines. Good morning, caller.
Good morning. I don't normally like to respond to what someone has said.
Go on.
Yeah, but I'm asking myself, Mr. Rolo is likely to be right, is likely to be wrong. But what bothers me is those who knows, for example, the legal-minded people, those who have been trained. Why not educate us? They have a right to tell us if we got this type of thing in the early days from the British government or whoever was ruling us. Somebody's supposed to educate us, but the legal-minded people just sitting down there and not explaining to the people what Mr. Rolo is saying. I hope Mr. Rolo don't attack me, is true or is not true. I want to educate myself.
So do you have a question for Mr. Nicholas?
Yeah, let me ask you a question, Mr. Nicholas. Yes, I'm saying, you're taking up my time. What prompted you to be involved in politics? Now, do you think that you have enough finance or you get enough people to help you to finance your campaign? This is what prompted me I want to ask that question. And this is what I'm interested in. Do you think you're capable? And what are you going to do for the country? Do you think you alone would be sufficient to go against, let's say, your odds? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Mr. Nicholas.
Thank you, caller. Well, first of all, you're asking about financing the campaign. In my address, I was calling on all Grenadians, local or in the diaspora, for all the support that they can give. Campaign financing, is, something a person is a very touchy one. And a lot of time, persons, want to get involved in the process and, they don't want to be seen. They work from behind the scene. I'm willing to accept, contributions from any entity to help with the financing of the campaign, because it's not going to be an easy one. I know for a fact it's going to be a challenge going forward, because with my, with me being on the scene, I know a lot of monies will be coming, from the incumbent. You have to spend some dollars and you have to be able to match up with anyone coming. But I'm going to say this, our people, have been growing, in knowledge. Our people has information in the palm of their hand these days. And don't underestimate the people or don't underestimate the electorate, because persons looking for, a difference. They don't want the same old, And sometimes some people believe that, a representative need to, be pumping monies into a system. Some people are talking about money now. They want to hear you, they want to see you, they want to feel you. This is what the persons are looking for. They're looking for serious engagement. And of course, you need monies to do certain things in the campaign, but I don't think money is everything.
Let me go to Facebook. Somebody on Facebook says, I have a lot of concerns about his credibility. He once said words to the effect that if a politician is engaged in stealing and it is resulting in benefits for the country, he sees nothing wrong with that. Does he still believe in that philosophy? Do you still believe in that philosophy?
Well, that was dead blossom. I say it all the time these days, that sometimes you get on platforms and you start talking and you say things that you're even conscious you're saying. And after you say it, you say, what the hell did I say? Excuse my language. What did I just say? Call and know. I believe that persons should be made accountable for any misdoings or wrongdoings. So it's not part of my philosophy that stealing to, the Robin Hood style, that was once in our history, and we should be moving forward. So the life we live now, life is different now. Persons are more, knowledgeable about the facts. Persons are more knowledgeable about, the system. So we need to do better and be honest with the people that we want to represent.
WhatsApp, somebody on WhatsApp says, one thing is clear, no one has ever left the NNP before and was successful in politics. With this said, how will all these situations be addressed? It is good to highlight all the preserved ills. That's all they do, but can never tell us how they will correct them. We as people need solid plans from you. As you want to be a politician, if you want to initiate change. So speaking of the issues that you want to tackle is one thing, but how will you go about dealing with them?
Well, as a policymaker, you have to be able to lobby other individuals, other policymakers to make those changes. And persons have to speak from their heart. They have to speak from their heart. They have to have a conscience. It's about conscience, Blossom. Persons have to have a conscience and do what is in the best interest of the people they represent. And don't just give them lip service. Do what is the best in the interest of the people. That's what I would say about this whole issue.
All right, let us go back to the landline. I'm taking one from each platform. Right, so back to the landline. Good morning, caller.
Greetings, my dear Blassie. How are you?
I'm good. How you do?
I'm trying to be blossoming like you, especially I see someone is there who trying to blossom too in the political arena. Let's get serious. Our brother have said it. Congratulations. He had just said it. And I hope that we can replay this program in particular, what he had said. He made a point. That when he is on stage, especially politicians is on stage, they say anything not knowing what they have said. Then afterwards, if they have a conscience, because sometimes the conscience comes back to them years after, when the harm and losses is being inflicted on persons, individual persons, and the country as a whole. It's sad. That is what we have been going through in Grenada year after year. Elections after elections, the fools are leading the fools. It's a matter of ecstasy. We are being duped. So when we're talking about who winning election and clean sweep, we must understand the mystery behind it. You must understand. And it's not easy to come from a Saul scenario on the road to Damascus to prosecute people and then to turn Paul. It's not easy. We have persons who have been recycled. What is the credibility? What is the integrity? What is sincerity? Are we, because we're not a particular political platform, are we against saying things which we know cannot be done? Which we know we just want to be in a better position to get fame and fortune and wealth? It's ridiculous. I could see a lot. How could we trust people? Again, let me force to end because I know I have limited time. I can say a lot. We are being duped. The people are being duped. Our dear brother who has been a long-time politician against progress. Most of the items which he had listed have been highlighted and stressed by independent, serious, patriotic individuals, even outside of the campaign. And they ridicule them and fight them down, including Kamahan Park, including the constitutional reform, including the way we have workers been exploited, including how we go about our heritage. And he said the same thing. These things are not new. On all of them, he, Tom, Dick, and Harry, they are coming and say the same thing. Things which they have already supported, endorsed, and caused to escalate and to destroy our country to this point where it seems we are in a basket going to hell of no return. The only supreme intervention, not here, any other person, but it's God. It is God. A mystery is on Grenada, a spiritual spell, I don't want to say. People are winning election and boasting about legacy. But look at our state. He has said it. I want us to go back to this particular statement he has made. Let him check himself. Other politicians who left NNP and who with NEC come and recognize they have been duped. They're going on the stage, whining and getting on, fooling the young people with all sorts of programs. All kind of mystery. But Mali said it. A mystic wall. Oh, God.
Okay.
I must just prefer Grenada. You have said it, and I just labor on that. Not only by you one, but by everybody. The upcoming elections will be a serious thing. We have to go down in sackcloth and ashes, as Jonah in Nineveh.
Okay.
Grenada is under a spell, a spiritual spell, spiritual deliverance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, caller. Mr. Nicholas?
Well, I know the caller sounds very passionate about his convictions and so. He made a point, you come to your realization, that is true. Sometimes you do things and you even as young persons, we do things when we were young that we feel we Iron Man. But as we grow older, you realize, hey, what have I been doing? You would not encourage your children to do such, but sometimes they still want to feel for themselves, they want to learn for themselves. I've learned my lesson, in terms of how we, address persons and how we deal with persons in society. I've learned my lessons, and the gentleman can rest assured that, I've learned my lessons. I am seeing things in a different light now, totally different. When I climb on the stage and I say, things that I, think was, you get to the hype and the crowd. It's a big fun day. But in life, there comes a time when you have to, sit back and, really, think serious about some of the comments that you've made and, apologize for them.
Let me go back on WhatsApp. Somebody on WhatsApp says, have you thought of putting in place a law to allow government or companies to establish a 401k retirement plan to have companies invest $1 and the employees invest $1 to help with better retirement? This is different from the NIS.
Give me that question again, Blossom.
Have you ever thought of setting up or asking government or companies to establish 401k retirement plan, much like what is done in the US? The person says this will be different from the NIS. I guess it's something you can consider.
But I cannot talk to it now because I don't really know exactly how the plan works. But I know, it's something you're gonna work alongside parallel with NIS, it's putting more hardship on the people. But it's something that we could look at. I would do some research on it and see exactly how it operates, how it works, but I cannot speak to it in detail at this time.
Somebody on WhatsApp is, they're saying, I believe he is being financed by the incumbent, Dr. Mitchell. Is Dr. Mitchell supporting you in any way?
That is not true. They are, right now, I think they probably will feel, threatened by my presence, especially in St. George Southeast. Bassanio is not financed by any political organization. I said, I'll welcome financing from the people of Grenada, local or in the diaspora, but no political organization is financing Bassanio this time.
As we close the program this morning, Mr. Nicholas, if you are approached by any of the main political parties, be it the NNP, the NDC, or even other organizations such as the Grenada Movement, GEM, and other organizations, if you're approached by any one of them to join them and possibly contest the same constituency, possibly St. George Southeast, would you consider it? Is that something that you can give consideration to, or are you committed to riding solo?
I am committed to riding solo at this time, but as I said earlier on, after all is said and done, when the numbers are counted, I have no problem working with any other organization to bring betterment to the people of this country. I think it's easier for me right now to work solo. It's more stressless. And I think that's where I would stay for the time being.
All right. I think that is all. Well, not I think. That's all the time we have for today's program. I want to thank you so much. I have a few comments of encouragement. Keep doing what you're doing on the various platforms, showing support. You start this venture. I wish you all the best. And thank you so much, Mr. Nicholas. Let's see what happens as the politics continues to roll out here in Grenada. Any final thoughts?
Thank you so much, Blossom. Thank you for having me on the program. You know, I don't know, I just released another video recently, and it's a very controversial one, you know, with person's belief and so, and it's to do with the whole pandemic and all that, and the forced vaccination that persons are, you know, trying to implement in the state and around the nation, in throughout the region and in the world. And I believe that these are choice persons should have, and I was, you know, stay with that belief. You know, because we need to know more about what persons are encouraging us to put into our systems. You know, I just want to thank the people of St. George Southeast for the encouragement, you know, not only in St. George Southeast, but throughout Grenada for the encouragement and the prayers and the love, you know, so far. And as I said, I'll be coming to your homes, you know. The team and I will come in and we'll be expecting your love and warmth, you know, your kind hospitality when we come, so we can, you know, get the campaign going. So thank you so much. Thank you for having me on your program this morning, Blossom. And I look forward to your next program.
Of course, we shall definitely keep in touch. Mm-hmm. All right. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday, Mr. Nicholas, and we'll, like I said, we'll keep in touch.
Yes, you enjoy yours as well, and we'll be seeing one another.
Yes, good luck.
Have a good one.
You too. Independent candidate Bassanio Nicholas throwing his hat in the ring with the hopes of contesting the St. George Southeast constituency, currently being represented by Minister of Finance, the Honorable Gregory Bowen. Thank you guys so much for tuning in to The Point. Enjoy the rest of your Tuesday. I'll be back tomorrow morning, God willing. Mid-morning buzz is up next. Stay tuned. Enjoy the rest of your day.